wow, it looks so fancy where you all are.
Congratulations on the film. I thought it was hilarious and heartfelt. But what I really loved, especially in a rom-com, that not only both of your characters, but really every character in the film goes through this beautiful journey of self-love towards self-love. So I would love to know, what do you hope audiences take away from both Alice and Paul's journey toward finding self-love?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I think, yeah, overall, that's a great way to put it because the movie starts out with an incredibly dysfunctional family where you're just yelling at the screen, almost like a horror movie, like, don't go into the next room. Like, why are they making those decisions? Which is just, to be honest, very entertaining. And I think the journey of the majority of people is to figure out why they're so disgruntled and figure out how to love themselves as they are, as a whole, even with all of their flaws. And that's done through reconnecting with family members, which is like pretty much the hardest thing to do on the planet. Because right now, planet Earth is like, have an opinion about everything and argue with everybody about everything always. Like that's sort of what Earth is about. And that's insane and not a way to live, and your cortisol levels will kill you if you do that. So to take a step back and realize that there is a group of people who you may disagree with on every subject, but you'd still lie down on train tracks for each other is heartwarming. And that's kind of what we discover about this group of people throughout the film.
Yeah, it's extremely relatable, I think. I think, and also communication is a huge part of that. And Ben, how do you think the film explores the ways in which communication can kind of break or make family dynamics specifically?
I think that families, whatever they may be, whether they're your, blood family or, chosen family, I know many queer people have a chosen family. I certainly blessed to have both things. And I feel like what defines, family members is that they are the closest people to you. And so I think sometimes they're the easiest people to talk to in the sense that you feel the most hopefully transparent with them and the freest to be exactly who you are, but also the stakes are at their highest in those relationships, and so sometimes they're the hardest people to talk about those things with because it makes them so real. Like when you name something that you're going through or a challenge that you're having, it makes it feel just incredibly real to voice that to your family members because it really brings it to the forefront in a way where you can't really be in denial about it in any sense. And so I think for Paul in particular, I think being around his family, subconsciously and consciously really helps him to realize the dysfunction of his own romantic relationship and how low on the totem pole he's placing himself and how he needs to kind of speak up for his own position in the relationship and have a little more self-esteem. And thankfully, in terms of his relationship with his mother, we find that there's a lot more acceptance and love there than he maybe realizes or gives credit for.
Yeah, it's a beautiful arc. Not everyone needs to love threesomes, I think is a big message. I also just have to say I really appreciate it. Kristen, your character had a miscarriage, and I really appreciate it, especially within this space, how it was talked about throughout the film. So I just want to thank you for this, for your beautiful performances and not being afraid to sort of talk about grief and love in the same space. And I think that's really important. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think it's vital to make topics available and at the forefront of all different kinds of people. Because the reality is, like, my character Alice isn't like, staying home, rescuing puppies with a white picket fence. That's the person in your mind you think would be most upset about a miscarriage, but like there is a woman who doesn't really even have her life together but did want the baby that she had. And I think I agree with you that it was important to show that that's grief as well, and also how like the idea of like a woman having a miscarriage, there's a lot of entanglement in those feelings because it sometimes makes you feel like you're valued less as a human being or something. And I haven't had one, so I did my best to try to emulate the feelings I thought would come out. But I am grateful for you saying that because I certainly thought it was something I tried to treat with a lot of care because it's a very important issue to maintain talking about. It does not need to stay hidden. It affects a lot of people's lives and it deserves to be a subject we talk about freely.
Absolutely. Well, that's my time. Thank you to both of you and congratulations again.